the dating scene is different now. I mean, I'm 31, and so I think I started thinking about dating around 12 years old, but I think I only started actually dating, whatever you want to call that, at 16, 17. And then by 21, 22, I had been on enough dates that I could actually reflect on my dates and think about what was good and bad about interacting with girls in a one-on-one setting without my buddies hanging around. Do we all agree that's kind of like what a date is? Like, do you believe in this concept of a double date? Is a double date really a date? Because like I find that like, and I'll explain why I don't think it's a date. I know you're attached to a date on it, but as soon as you incorporate other people who are not involved in that intimacy, then the intimacy of the conversation, the intimacy of the interactions is limited a bit, meaning that you are forced to interact with the other people.
I don't necessarily think it might be really a double date, being a date,
right.
defining it so narrowly, but it's certainly an introduction, which is how some people do describe it. So it's an introduction that might lead to a proper date.
So that might be a better environment to stimulate further, more intimacy. That's a good way of looking at it. Meaning that maybe perhaps a group setting, like this one, is a good way to segue ourselves into a more intimate interaction with somebody that we may or may not be attracted to. That's interesting. So then we come to this whole idea of our generation, which is fantastically able to acquire information and acquire many things like banking and like pizzas without even picking up a phone. Now I know I'm not playing the old guy job and saying like, oh, on my day we used the phone or we went out on dates. But it's absolutely unbelievable that I remember when the internet became a functional personal thing, and then from that early 90s, mid 90s startle of the world. We're literally in a generation where I think, vis-a-vis our cell phones and vis-a-vis our wireless devices, that we are using the internet most likely more hours a day, definitely more than television, but possibly at the same amount of hours we possibly could be even working. You have an 8-hour workday, you might be using the internet at work and then after work maybe 10, 12 hours, right? It could literally be that much. You could really, with your work, you're probably using it 4 of the 8 hours you're there, and then another 4 to 6 hours when you come home. You may not even use TV. You know how I know this for sure? Blockbuster's closing. It's unbelievable. I saw Blockbuster closing there, there's one that closed in Thornhill. The world is over. Blockbuster's closing. Big places like that close, there's like Armageddon happening. So be careful. Get your bomb shelters. Because if you can't rent videos, what the heck are you going to do? Renting videos, then you can rent DVDs. That's what I'm saying. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your own computer. And now that you can get like one of those, pads, you can just like take around your tablet of information everywhere you go. Right on time. Steinberg. Welcome. There's handouts. There's handouts, by the way. I'm so sorry. I apologize for my. I'm not like a.
What's wrong with you?
There's handouts in the back if you want to circulate them. They may assist you, but they may not. So don't feel obligated to take them. So let's continue. I am a fantastically verbal person, and I did say that to her. I said it in a very similar way as I'm saying now, with a sort of unbelievably apathetic laugh. Like, yeah, I wouldn't mind going out with your sister. I thought you were her. But what happened here? So I was attracted to somebody on the internet because of a survey that she filled out that described herself, and I put together a visual. On top of that, there was a picture of a mugshot. So it was like, from shoulders up. It wasn't like a full picture with 75 other pictures attached to it, one shot. And so I was like reasonably thinking enough that, okay, this person is reasonable. Like I didn't really, I couldn't measure the picture that much. It was like, it's a picture, but like it wasn't, you can't really measure it. I'm like, geez, listen, for me, it's somebody that is attractive enough that I'd be willing to consider a relationship with, like going on one date with. And based on our conversations and what I've read based on her profile, we're good to go here. Well, all of a sudden I get on the date, and 2 or 3 are still in play. The personality is still there, from what I understood. And the stuff she described, she was basically, she said she was 5'5", she was probably 5'5". I mean, that stuff was all there, it was all true. But she wasn't her. 2 out of 3 is not what I was looking for. I mean, if anything, you would think that which one of the 3 would be a lie? I would think the description of oneself most likely would be the lie, or be embellished, right? Not the face. You can't, I mean, obviously with Photoshop, I guess you could throw a mustache or something, or not a girl, maybe take the mustache off, but with a guy, you can, toss some muscles in there, slim out, whatever. Or again, use the right lighting, get the muscle shot, guys, if you want to take a picture of stuff, get some dark lighting, make the curve, get those tricks.
Jersey Shore.
Guys, I'll, show you the tricks. And so I was just like, there's gotta be something creepy about this. So literally, I think it was like right after I went on a date with her, I went sort of Facebook, not gonna get to that. I went J-date quiet for a bit. I mean, I didn't go out pursuing girls. Like I didn't go and check my profile regularly. I was just sort of like, you know, I would just keep it updated, see if anybody was interested, and go blah blah. Now I'll tell you an interesting story that ended up being the person who married me. So a girl breaks up with a guy. This girl isn't me, but a girl breaks up with a guy. She did not meet on the internet, right? She met him in a traditional way, and in her sort of sorrow to recover from her relationship, one of her friends says, you know, you should just try JDate. Give it a shot. She's like, why would I go on this stupid, you know, profile with these scummy guys looking to just get cheap, easy girls, and they're not interested, you know. Again, this is her opinion of it, you know, it's not my opinion, it's her opinion. I was an honest, really good guy. She goes and looks at all opinion. That's true. She looks at 2 profiles. One profile, reads it, doesn't like it, and the next one happened to be mine. The second profile she looks at, she's like, now this guy's interesting. I wasn't a yarmulke wearing guy back then. I look different. Not so much different, but different enough. Different enough. And one of her friends who was sitting with her as she like went on to the shows, don't go with that guy. He's gonna rape you. Right? That's what she said. It's a quote. It's a quote. He's gonna do something bad to you. It's like a really like. I'm like. Wow, when she told me in hindsight, I'm like, and this girl's my friend now too, I'm like, wow, that's a horrible thing. What a poor judgment, that's horrible. But she thought I was just like some like typical guy looking to get, with as many girls as possible, because that's how I appeared to her. Now to the girl who ends up being my wife, somehow she saw something unique in my profile. You know what I did? Guys, take note. I used all capitals. The whole thing was capitals. It looked like I was screaming at you. Right? The whole thing was screaming right at you. And instead of talking about how fantastic and smart and great I am, I just like made up the biggest ridiculous like jokes and lies possible. So nobody would actually take it seriously. I wrote I spoke Tagalog, and I've been to Vietnam for 4 years, and I currently was trying to grow another leg. Completely ridiculous things. But I put up regular pictures of myself, in alternately all dark pictures, mind you, in good situations, right? One was a Timmy's cup, and like another one, like kind of like doing the like blue steel face, no smile lines, nothing, just like hardcore. And somehow she saw through something, and she was like, I want to get this guy's email. And now I had encrypted my email, that's a whole other conversation, you encrypt your email, and she actually emailed me. She emailed me like a day later, and I emailed back, and she sent me a picture, because she didn't have a profile, of her, because I already had like 4 pictures there, she knew what I somewhat looked like. She sent me a picture of her, and I gave you 3 girls. Brown hair, my wife has brown hair, and she's about 5'8". 3 girls, all about the same size, with the same amount of hair, it literally looked like 3 sisters. And so I asked her, I'm like, who are you? She's like, guess. I'm like, all right, you're the one in the middle. She's like, nope. Okay, left. She's like, nope. I'm like, okay, right. So, hey, I'm like, I got it. So I picked out the girl. only, you know what I did? Or she did? She got it wrong. I picked out the girl on the right and said she thought she was the left or the right. I don't know how it worked out, but the one I called out and she said was her was actually not, it was the other side. So we talked for a few days, and it was pretty decent. Now this is the last date I went on was the switch a girl date, and so now we moved up to the girl date. And so we decided to finally meet up. It was like, after about maybe 3 or 4 days of talking, on what's MSN. And so we go to meet up, right? So I pick her up at her house. This time I got to go to the door, and she opens the door. I'm like, you're the other one. That was not you. She's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, what did I say? I'm like, you said the left. She's like, no, I meant the right. And I'm like, all right, come to the car. I gotta tell you something. And right away, even though it should have been like, I should have been like jaded, Obviously I wasn't, because I'm kind of a nice guy. I'm kind of funny that way. I'm like, that's probably end up being a story, right? When I go switch. And so instead of being jaded by it, I was like, this is hilarious. What a great way to break the ice. We were completely, like, no tension at all. And we went out and had a nice date. And subsequently started dating. And subsequently, 8 months, get to know me better. I was like, well, sorry, we ended up getting married.